Okay, so starting to work on my transmission now, the one that's going to go in the Ranger. So I do have the rear band in. I do have the anti-walkout bushing with the rollerized rear output on there. So it just has the rollerized 3-piece bearing on the backside. Done a couple of those on the channel before. This is the part number for the kit that I used. So it's just the anti-walkout bushing with the lip on it that goes on from the inside of the case. Has some spacers and a nice bearing. This is a 4-wheel drive to 2-wheel drive conversion. So in the last video I did add the speed ring for the rear. I did change the output shaft to the 2-wheel drive output shaft. I didn't film any of it, but I did change the rear cut plug to the orifice cut plug with the O-ring on it. On the case I didn't change the rear seal. I'm just going to inspect everything, and if I want to change it I'll change it. If not, we'll just move on. So next I'll get the rear in, and then we can start working on the drums. Alright, so this rear section, I just pick it up with a vice grip. And then we can lower it in. Simple as that. Okay, rear section is in. I'm going to put the next snap ring in that goes underneath the center support. It's just this real thin snap ring. Also going to be installing a case saver on this one. So the case saver just offers extra support for the snap rings that come over on this side, because you do have that big open area with no lugs. So you have all lugs all the way around, but there's this big open area that doesn't support the snap ring. With high pressure, it can bend the snap rings and put uneven pressure on them and like break the lugs and stuff off. So I did install one of these on the last transmission that I did with the Extreme Automatics trans brake, and it actually went pretty well. So the way that I did it was I put the opening for the snap ring down here because there's no lug section. Where typically the snap ring would be like here, and you wouldn't have anything supporting this section of the snap ring. Then the other issue I see with putting the snap ring in a different position like that is not even using 2 lugs. If you go this way, it's not using 1 lug. So even if you put it in another position, you're supported over here, but now you're missing the use of a lug over here. So I feel like putting the ring over here makes sense because you don't have a lug over here to even use. This ring is fully supported by this lug. Now the end of the snap ring is supported by the case saver. I feel like that makes sense, but let me know what you guys think. Alright, next the center support goes down. Give this a twist so it drops. There we go. Be all the way down. My holes in the case are lined up. We can go ahead and put the beveled snap ring on. Alright, beveled snap ring on. Okay, I got the beveled snap ring in. I'll put the intermediate wave plate in. I'm going to keep the wave in it. So I'm going to be using Borg Warner clutches. This is the kit number. So I just went ahead and threw the clutches in a bag and threw some fluid in it. So I'll let these soak for a little bit and then we'll put them in. Alright, so got the clutches all soaked. And I'm going to start with the steel. These are Ray Bestos choline steels. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll put the pressure plate on. This is just a stock pressure plate, nothing fancy here. The instructions for this case saver say to cut a notch out of the pressure plate, probably to fit it down through here. I'm able to fit it on just by putting it under like that, so I don't feel like you need a notch in it. It doesn't hit the case saver at all. There's enough clearance there. I don't really feel like you need the notch in there, but so yeah, that's how I'm doing it. Now I'll put the snap ring on and then we'll check the clearances. And this is the thicker snap ring. I think this is actually an HD2 kit snap ring. This one measures 93 thousandths. You can get these thicker intermediate snap rings online on eBay or whatever. And you can get different thicknesses too, if you needed. Go ahead and put the snap ring underneath the case saver. Alright, now so to make up for the thickness of the inner circle of the case saver, you have to grind down a little bit of this locating lug lump. So I did do a practice one over here just to see how much I would have to take off, and it was about 50 thousandths that needs to come off of it. And I did a couple test fits with it, with the drum, the direct drum in place, and then I just ran a feeler gauge around the outside to where it would actually pass straight through. So I got it to where, with the other band, I got it to where 30 thousandths would get stuck, 20 thousandths would go right through, and 25 thousandths would catch, but it would also go through. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. This is a new band, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this thing up because I don't want to get metal shavings on any of it. So I'm going to wrap this thing up in like a plastic or something, and then I'll grind this down. Alright, so I got the band and the direct drum in there, and I'm using, I don't know if you can see it, a 20 thousandths feeler gauge. I tested it with a 25. A 25 is tight, won't go through, and a 20 will come right through in between the band and the drum. So I don't know if you can see that, but a 25 was tight and a 20 will go right through. So there is enough space. It just says in the instructions you need some space because it doesn't want it dragging on the drum. So that should be good. Now I'll take the direct drum back out and take the band out, and I'll start to go through the dual feed stuff for the direct drum. And I don't think I mentioned it, but I did take the second sealing ring off of the center support, also for the dual feed. And I think what I'll do is end the video here, and then I'll make another video separately about doing the direct drum. So next video I'll go over the direct drum. We're going to do 6 clutches in here. I'm going to be using this aluminum piston that I got from another person who wasn't able to use it because it was machined down too far. So the steels would spin, but I got a plan for that to prevent the spinning. And I'll be able to do 6 clutches with the regular 90 thousandths steels instead of using the thinner forward drum steels. I'll be able to use regular direct drum steels and regular clutches in there. I also have another aluminum piston on the way, so I should be able to do 6 in the forward also. That'll be in the next one.